Hello, my name is Milena Nikolova, and it's really a pleasure to be part of the Central Asia Trade Forum and to share with you some thoughts about where tourism is heading in the new normal. I will particularly focus on how traveler behaviors are changing and what that means for us as an industry. So what I'll cover today is I'll start briefly by outlining what is the new normal and is it here already? And then we will look at the contrasts that are marking the post-COVID-19 traveler. We will cover briefly what that means for businesses and then what are actually the opportunities associated with the crisis that we are all experiencing. So, what is the new normal and are we there yet? The reality is that an increasing share of analysts and experts are talking about this crisis as being a great behavioral reset and a dramatic shift in the way that social and consumer norms are being shaped. This will inevitably change how we behave both in everyday life as well as in our leisure time, how we spend and how we consume. It has already done a lot to turn our travel industry as well as a lot of our associated industries upside down. But it's important to realize that this is still not over yet. And the reality is that as we're seeing, the crisis dynamics are continuing and experts and observers continue to claim that we are still months away from the new normal. That said, the environment in which we are currently existing and operating has already changed, so it's worth talking about that. Particularly, we need to be using this time in order to prepare for the new post-COVID traveler. And I describe that traveler as a consumer of contrasts. Here's why. The first characteristic of post-COVID-19 traveler behavior is that we will be working with a traveler who has strong desire to indulge. This has been a consumer who has been restricted in their freedom to choose and to travel and to enjoy new places and new experiences. So we need to expect travelers to be ready to pack and travel unrestricted the moment that border and other administrative restrictions are lifted. And to see travelers who seek to overcompensate almost 2 years of isolation, closures, and traveling only in their dreams. At the same time, we have to be realistic about the fact that this will also be a traveler who will be safety obsessed. Safety will continue to be a priority and an important concern for travelers. Our threat to health and personal safety is something that is very stable as a need. So clients will continue to be very cautious about hygiene, to treat safety discipline as really a signal for reliability of service providers and companies in the industry. So this is important to remember because even when most pandemic concerns are gone, we'll still have to maintain extremely high standards in terms of safety and hygiene to meet the expectations of a traveler who will see safety as part of quality in the future. Associated with the optimistic change and desire to return on the road, we will see a traveler who is ready to spend. Unless the particular individual is directly impacted by job loss or other specific economic hardship that was triggered by the crisis, you will be working with travelers who are ready to spend on real life, real touch experiences that they have been craving for nearly 2 years. At the same time, all of us are marked by the awareness that the global economy is marked by recession. There are certain regions and countries which are especially impacted by these processes. So all consumers, even the ones who are directly unimpacted by this, become a little bit more conscious about the value, about the benefits that they're really getting in exchange for their spend. So what this means for us as businesses operating in the travel industry is that we have to be much more savvy in communicating the value of what we offer, and making sure that it relates to our clients. The third contrast, which I wanted to cover as part of the discussion on the post-COVID-19 traveler behavior, is the craving for social. As a result of the dynamics all of us were living in, and the fact that we as human beings thrive on social interaction and relationships, we will see a traveler who is eager to engage, to talk, to connect. So what we can do as players in this market reality, is to actually pay special attention to this aspect and adjust our offerings in a way that leaves a little bit time and creates a favorable stage for conversations and for moment of togetherness. At the same time, the fear from crowds, which was triggered by the current crisis, is going to remain. So your clients' minds will continue to be very concerned about connecting or being in contact with large groups of people they don't know. So in the future, we're going to continue to see growing demand for smaller group experiences which are in environments where there's no risk of crowding, and where we cannot by accident walking to a space where there's too much people that represent a threat. We have a customer who has been missing the real world. A lot of you and colleagues from other destinations have been using virtual experiences to offer some escape from the boring and fearsome reality of lockdowns and a pandemic. And while these virtual experiences have served as some form of virtual escape for travelers' souls, there's no question that all of us crave to go out, to be in the real world, to see the real places and be in contact with the real people. Of course, by going back, we will see travelers who enjoy being in the real setting, but who also look for ways to experience spaces and new people through contactless experiences. You will find that your clients will not miss physical contact with menus, with sign-in forms, with tickets. They will expect to interact with contactless alternatives of these that eliminate physical touch points and human-to-human and human-to-human contact wherever that's possible. And this will remain valid for the future. Now, the stay-at-home time was an opportunity to learn more and really reflect on what is going on in our world and humanity when it comes to sustainability. So as you've probably seen across many analyses of future consumer behavior, you will be faced with a traveler who comes out of the pandemic with an even stronger awareness that sustainability should become non-negotiable, in the way that we live, the way that we do business, the way that we consume. At the same time, we have a traveler who is suffering from major crisis fatigue. So, in that sense, using messages and approaches to sustainability that replace one crisis with another crisis, the sustainability crisis, cannot be a good approach. So, we must find creative and smart ways to make sustainability part of the design of travel offerings, and make it easy to do, fun and rewarding for travelers, so that they can feel good about really being smart and responsible consumers, but at the same time not to feel the burden of having to process another crisis just as they're coming out from another one. Now, what is the silver lining in this crisis and the disruption that we have been experiencing? The reality is that, of course, the travel market globally is on a big pause. And this has placed a monstrous burden on our resources, our resilience. But there's one thing that we have that we didn't have when things were running normally, and that's time. And the great thing about this is that we can use this time as an opportunity to innovate, to reinvent, and change the way that we operate, so that we can align with the new traveler expectations, but also find ways to become more resilient to future crises, more connected to the planet and people that are at the core of travel experiences, and more impactful and rewarding as businesses. So with this, I would like to conclude and thank you for your attention, in hope that I have added a little bit of value to the valuable and insightful content collected during the Central Asia Trade Forum, and to inspire positive change as all of us are struggling through the disruption that COVID-19 has caused on our industry. Thank you so much, and good luck to everybody.